Dan, tell us the latest and catch us up to speed about what's going on right now.
Well, about 40 minutes from now, we'll find out what he's actually charged with, and then what kind of punishment those charges entail. We're expecting a pretty long drawn-out legal battle here. Najib has apologized to the nation. He released a video on his Twitter account late last night, just saying he's sorry, but that not all the accusations against him are true, and he deserves a chance to defend himself. So, and he invoked, the afterlife, saying, everyone will be judged eventually, even the current government. So basically saying, don't spread too many lies about me, just give me my day in court. This will be the first step in that process.
So this is going to be a pretty big test for Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. I mean, the fact is not just that he has to prove that he's guilty. I mean, he has to prove that this is not just politically charged, right, these accusations.
Exactly. It looks, it's been 2 months after Najib lost power. It was, the government that ruled Malaysia for more than 6 decades since independence. And, Mahathir, it could look like political retribution if it's not done right. And he wants to make sure that this process is credible and that, the allegations against him are legit. And, we saw raids on Najib's house where they took a bunch of handbags, designer sunglasses, and all this other sort of cash. So, in the eye of the public, they were kind of outraged by this all and got Mahathir in there anyway. That was, they already see him as enough. There's enough smoke there.
All right. Now, Dan, Mahathir has also pledged basically to weed out corruption. What does this mean for others in his crosshairs?
He's been adamant since he took office that he won't stand for corruption. And, Najib is kind of #1 on the list, but there's many other officials in his government that he's basically put on notice. And he's kind of cleaning up the old government, he likes to say. And he's made that a top priority to try and get Malaysia kind of back on track and respected. This scandal has really tainted the country's international image, and he wants to make sure that, he's doing everything he can to kind of assert the rule of law. As mentioned before, though, there's a risk that that could go too far, and it could look like political retribution. Right. So, that'll be something to watch in the days ahead.
I mean, for investors, this is going to continue to just cloud the uncertainty around what's going to come when it comes to Mahathir's government, reforms. I mean, they kind of want this trial to go as speedy as possible and kind of try to close this chapter in the nation.
Yeah, they do, and Najib will be looking to draw it out. I mean, I think that's kind of, his strategy is kind of, he's got a great legal team in place. He's throwing the book at this. He won't go away quietly. He won't, just fade into the background here.
So. I mean, he pretty much has to put everything he can take at this point. I mean, it seems like everything is on the line, his credibility and even his previous government as well.
Yeah, his legacy. And Najib is, he's a son of a former prime minister. He's been in politics since his early 20s. He's got a huge reputation in the country, and he's still loved by many of the Malay population. So the government does need to tread a bit carefully when they're dealing with him. At the same time, Mahathir does need to show that he's restoring business confidence and moving on a number of fronts, to make sure Malaysia's finances are on track, that growth is on track, and to kind of, just separate this and say, look, this is all according to the rule of law here. Najib, committed these crimes. We have evidence of it. Here it is, and he deserves to be punished.